When it's time to begin, it's on the Rewind-A-Dynamite with John Pollock and Wai Ting. The A-Team that makes sense of these things we see in the ring every week on TV. It's Rewind-A-Dynamite for Monday night. Download it Tuesday morning from the Post Wrestling site. It's Rewind-A-Dynamite for Monday night on USA Now on the John and Wai Take the Mic.
It is John Pollock and Wai Ting. WrestleMania week has commenced here at Post Wrestling, and we are revved and ready to go for the week ahead.
Yes, we are. Have you ever used that phrase, other than maybe to start a podcast?
No, that's the Dana White line that he used way back in 2001.
And ready to go.
If you look that up, Dana White. We're revved and ready to go. A much calmer Dana White. Did you hear what he said over the weekend? A great all-time line.
I did not.
He explained that when he's spoken at the RNC, his speeches aren't political when he goes to the Republican convention.
Oh, okay.
It's like, okay, that's really interesting.
Was he trying to unite everybody?
He was asked about just the White House card and such, and he tried to downplay how political they are.
Like, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing political about the RNC. Okay,
there's nothing political, but calling it freedom.
I'm endorsing this man to be president, but don't you dare politicize that message. Okay, It's amazing. Like last Tuesday, Donald Trump threatens to destroy civilization with whatever if he's gonna nuke Iran. And days later, there he is, lapping it up in Miami at the UFC event. And didn't get the most warming reception either. Like when you lose some of the MMA audience, that's when you really panic if you're his team. Not so much the polls or anything else. It's the UFC fan base. That is the signal.
I do think it is a great gauge of the temperature, for a particular demographic.
Oh, it's actually a great gauge because this is an audience that is going to be the most loyal to this president. Think about the week he had. This is very strategic that you're going here to a UFC event. This is a completely public relations manipulated appearance, and it is to your safest audience. So if they're not as engaged as before, it can be very telling. Yes. And it got a lot of coverage because of that. All right. We just went through all of the news, including our latest breakdown of the Ruthless Pro Wrestling event, now complete with a records request that we received from the Berwyn Police Department. The case is closed. Are all the questions answered? Wai and I have more during the news section to go through on that.
Great job on getting those records, John.
They were
the coverage of this whole story.
Well, we the case is closed, but our questions remain. Gabe Kidd, we chatted about his injury from Dynasty on Sunday night as well. Updates to some of the cards for WrestleMania week that are happening outside of WWE. Gable Steveson signing with the UFC and will debut in July, and also going over the lineups for NXT and Spring BreakThru this week. Among the, we will see where will NXT rank among the shows this week. We should rank all the cards next Monday that we see.
What's ranking though? Because that could affect things, John. Okay, when we talk about ratings and rankings these days.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well,
what rating are you talking about?
I'll check with Pat McAfee to see what is the barometer in 2026 that we assess success and failure with.
Okay.
No sale announced tonight on Raw.
True. You're right. Have they just thrown in the towel at this point and said all right, it is what it is?
You know what was interesting as well?
Hold on a second though. The sale went until the end of Monday Night Raw.
Yes. So, and how many times was that promoted on Raw? You would think tonight. Did they?
Yeah, I saw a lower third for it.
Okay. Yeah, then I missed those. I didn't even catch any of those mentions.
Oh, I saw it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I you didn't hear it in the body of a promo like you did on Friday.
Well, I thought Michael Cole would have a goddamn megaphone and be telling us about.
I thought Roman Reigns would be able to just when the clock strikes 12 or you only have a few minutes left.
I hate that we have to push these ticket sales, but I envy those that got 25% off before the end of Raw. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
How far are we from like getting product placement just in the body of your professional wrestling promo? I'm sure to some extent we already.
We kind of at this point do.
But I mean, blatant, like like.
Wait, that's Nick Khan. He's coming out. Nick Khan closes the show.
Yeah,
folks, we gotta hit that sale. We've got to hit it with all it's worth because, folks, we've got to secure.
As such, going forward, we'll be referring to these site fees more broadly as financial incentive packages, or as we like to call them, FIPs.
We doing a lot of work in that statement. That's what we like to call them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, folks, I'm going to hit everyone over the head with this. We're live every day this week, 1 p.m. Eastern time, exclusively on the Post Wrestling Café. We're back Tuesday at 1, and we may be joined by some guests on Tuesday as well. Wednesday, we're going to be doing a special best and worst of WrestleMania with Braden Harrington and Davey Portman. And then we're back Thursday. We're back Friday. And then we'll be Thursday and Friday, we're going to be getting into the actual shows. And we've got a big WrestleMania preview edition coming your way. We will then be live after both nights of WrestleMania here on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel. But for the daily shows, postwrestlingcafe.com.
I think I was like, putting together the, you put together the schedule this week, and we got something like 14 shows. That's like at least twice a day, and it's not just us, but, it's
kicking
everybody.
off today, Post Pro Res with WH and Karen.
That's right. We have MCU later, of course, coming out, talking about a very hot season of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, of course. And then we've got Collision Course happening on Thursday that Kate from Montreal will be covering with John Kleinchester and just, of course, everything. Still, we're keeping up our regular schedule in addition to bringing you guys, I think, pretty interesting conversation. I could say at the very least to start today's edition of our WrestleMania week bonus coverage. We had Brian Mann on, our old friend from Keeping It 2000, and also Bruce Lord talking about his live experience at AEW Dynasty.
Yes, great conversations today to kick off WrestleMania week, and we're not
Those
announcing.
Are free.
Yes, those ones are free. You can check it out right now on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel, and tune in. We'll see who else might pop by this week, but we're gonna have a lot of entertaining shows this week. I think I'm looking forward to them. Tonight we were at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, where I don't know if they announced one match before Raw started. They might have late in the day, but this was pretty much just, hey, it's go-home night, and we're getting all the big stars on the show. 11,279 tickets distributed, according to WrestleTix, which is up from last October when Raw was here with just over 10,100. And we start off with it's campaign season, and Roman Reigns and his comms team put together the opening where he is seated and warns CM Punk to enjoy the relevancy while you can. He said, "You lied about my history." And boy, Roman Reigns going back into the archives, okay? He clearly in possession of a WWE Google Drive for this video. And he juxtaposes Punk's recent promos about how I brought the Shield up into WWE, and we cut back to 2012 when he denies having anything to do with the Shield. How he doesn't need wise men, and we see old clips of him with Paul Heyman, and I don't surround myself with yes men, and we cut to the Straight Edge Society. And we get some shots of the Shield here, and how he also came here to make money, not friends. And we get CM Punk's Instagram photos with Cody, with Roxanne Perez, with Bayley. You loser, you came and made friends, you liar.
Okay,
Phil?
all the other ones I get as like, shots, right? Like it's Roman pointing out his hypocrisy in saying that, okay, Roman needs the Usos. Meanwhile, Punk has used the Shield in the past. He doesn't surround himself with wise men, yet he did lead the Straight Edge Society, which was essentially a cult built around him. But I don't know if like insulting him for saying that he wasn't here to make friends and proving that he did make friends is exactly like the thing that'll make him look
No, don't.
It's about making friends.
Yes. Well, folks, we're only 6 days away. The Zebros explode this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
but the big one was him showing the Pat McAfee stuff, and of course them putting a spotlight on the Saudi Arabia line, which was repeated here,
which is always Wai's edict here. It's the highlight packages, what they keep in and what they keep out. That's what they want to register with you, and they repeat the line about how CM Punk is a hypocrite when he takes in all of his TKO merchandise money, and whether he puts it into whether he gives that money to the families that can't afford WrestleMania tickets or into the account labeled "I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia."
Yeah.
So they clearly wanted to make that, like, drive that line home, and I think it's one that, like, and no response from Punk either in terms of anything with Pat McAfee on this show, which, in a nutshell, I was glad that they didn't waste time on it, but it's almost like it just, all the insults land, and what was the purpose of Pat McAfee's comments on Friday if tonight was only, and it's not like they even ignored them, like they prominently featured them here at the start of the show.
Yeah, I guess maybe they could argue the point was for them to use in this video package on behalf of Roman Reigns, sort of like pointing out Punk's hypocrisies. I still don't really like it. I didn't like it when they brought it up as a part of the story for John Cena versus CM Punk in Saudi Arabia. I especially don't like it because all these months later, we've yet to get an actual response from Punk in storyline talking about what exactly happened. Why the change of heart? And you're still not getting it here. So I just think it's one of those things that continues to make Punk actually look bad. And not that it will affect his pop at all, because at this point he feels very bulletproof. He came out of that Cena program perfectly fine. More popular than ever, you can argue, but to a certain core base who still believes, or at least at once was really dedicated to him as like an authentic voice, I think like the repeated mention of this whole Saudi Arabia thing just continues to weather that. And, you know, it makes him look like more of a character than just a real person.
Maybe it's a post-WrestleMania thing where the guy sits in the middle cross-legged to educate us on autocratic governments.
Yeah, maybe.
So from there, Reigns says that tonight Punk has one chance to tell the truth or else I will. And then this message has been approved by your tribal chief at the end.
I don't know if that was necessary.
I didn't think it was. It did not fit this guy at all to say this goofy line at the end, but they couldn't help themselves. Adam Pearce and Paul Levesque are in the ring. You've never seen Paul Levesque on a show so many times without a goddamn thing to say. Like, he was just there as like window dressing for the contract signings because they explained they're going to do separate contract signings with Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. Have we just entered a new era where it's like we can do 2 contract signings per match?
In the age of 3-hour shows and like 2.5-hour shows.
Why do we have to have both of them together when we can separate them? So Heyman comes out declaring it WrestleMania Fight Week, and he brings out Brock, who immediately signs the contract. Big chance for Oba. Even Lesnar grabs the mic saying, "You won't know his name after this weekend." And Heyman starts promoting this as the real main event of WrestleMania. There will be a winner, there will be a loser, and the loser will be Oba Femi. And this will open the show on Sunday on ESPN. And then Saturday's opener on ESPN2 will be the Usos and LA Knight against Theory, Logan, and IShowSpeed.
So they are starting both nights of WrestleMania with arguably like maybe the most mainstream friendly match, other than of course like what would be in the main event. They're putting the most important matches at the beginning of the show, which I guess is a little bit of a surprise to me, just because I felt they could have maybe done something to maybe extend the attention for these particular matches into the body of the pay-per-view itself. But they're teasing that you're going to get the beginning and the conclusion of these matches for free on ESPN. What do you think about
that? I think both nights are very valuable real estate for WWE. I am glad they're putting Oba Femi in this spot, and I think they're shooting for like our biggest television audience of the year is going to see this Brock and Oba Femi match, and I think that's the way to look at it and make it very clear. Like, I would literally start the show at 6 p.m. and have countdown to Lesnar's entrance. Like, you're just telling people when this match is about to begin, and you're gonna have to get to this pretty quickly because you do have the 2 matches to do in an hour with commercials.
True.
IShowSpeed does a training segment with Austin Theory and Logan Paul, and Logan Paul is just trying to just gas this guy up. doubt looks disgusting on you. And Theory points out how everyone hates Speed because the Usos lost the tag belts because of you. You also nailed LA Knight with the brass knucks. Everyone's coming for you. So we get a series of training montages here. I believe we had a Dante Chen sighting here. And this was very slickly edited where you would have no idea what this guy looks like in the ring. It was just a cut. And he learned how to wrestle in however long the shoot went.
Kind of all it takes. I mean, I perhaps like for me last week, seeing him like do that big leapfrog off of like LA Knight, I recognize this is a very athletic, Twitch streamer who does like backflips and stuff, like just as his thing. But even that was a little bit hard for me to believe that, like, a show where supposedly like somebody like LA Knight is a top level performer is able to like kind of look, like defeated by I Show Speed. So I at least felt like a segment like this was necessary to build a little bit of believability in the fact that this guy will probably, like show some flashy stuff in that match.
They showed some the early construction going on at Allegiant Stadium, and they are promoting that they're going to do countdown shows each day at 3:00. So you're going to get 3-hour countdown shows before the actual event starts, and then a post show after the fact.
I'll be right there.
Yeah, I won't. Charlotte Flair, Lyra Valkyria. So I thought two things tonight, Way. I thought we should probably get some definitive story on Nikki Bella and Asuka and Io Sky. And while both were addressed, at the end of it, we really didn't have those specific answers. With Michael Cole still stating Nikki Bella hopes to be ready by WrestleMania on Saturday. And you've got Friday, and I guess like if they are not confident, then they're just going to wait this one out till Friday. And like, could you give a replacement to Brie Bella? Like, it would suck if Brie like lost her spot on this too, but I certainly don't think this is a case where like the Kabuki Warriors, if there was a thing to do, they would have done it here. I don't think they're in the mix here.
Yeah. Like it almost feels to me at this point that they should save Io and Asuka, for Backlash or something like that. Obviously it sucks to not have either of these high level performers not on WrestleMania, but at that point you'd only be putting them on just to say that you are giving them a WrestleMania spot. And I think that would be a disservice to the story that could be told, if these two had more time. So, I mean, from this, I gather that they might be kind of confident that Nikki Bella will be okay. But I also don't know if, like, the Kabuki Warriors suddenly being entered into it is sort of necessary.
I don't see that one happening. And
makes no
like,
difference.
I heard the same, that, like, Io and Asuka, like, it's possible it just gets held back until Backlash. The fact they didn't announce it tonight, that's kind of how I left this show, thinking like they're not going to just announce this unless they announce something on social media tomorrow morning. But outside,
you'll get
of that,
a lot of outrage, I'm sure. But I do think like Io has her role is probably attached to Jade and Rhea in that match.
And I also think they have kind of fallen into this storyline that they're certainly, I think, going to play up with Carmelo and maybe Io too, like the performer that misses WrestleMania, and that's a story for them that they revisit, like they did with Bayley this year as well. So, Lyra's caught in a head scissors by Charlotte and does a handstand getting out of it. And I thought Lyra was showing a lot more aggression here. She hits this leg drop off the top, and Flair hits a moonsault. There's a fisherman buster by Lyra. And then Bayley breaks up an O'Connor roll that Charlotte goes for, allowing Lyra to reverse and catch Charlotte in 10 minutes and 26 seconds. And they literally have a shoving match involving these four, which at the end, Bayley just starts shoving Lyra as well. And I have seen more than enough of these various teams meet in every conceivable connection in the lead up to this match. But I did think Lyra looked like the match. It was fine.
I kind of felt it was like one of the stronger Charlotte matches, maybe singles matches we may have seen in recent memory. I thought there was an added sense of urgency here. But like for all the airtime they've given this crop of tag team wrestlers, I feel no connection at all to any sort of story. It feels like they're just simply trading wins and overall it feels very emotionally flat. Like
and they've also lost the Bellas in here. But even with the Bellas, I don't know if this would be all that different. It would just be more combinations that they would be doing these matches.
More parody booking involving all of them and the Bellas. But like the story in all of this is Bayley trying to right the embarrassment of not making WrestleMania last year, and that's a note that I don't think they've hit hard enough on. At least like I felt they could have gone a lot further in telling us that story.
The Usos are with LA Knight, and in walk the MFTs, who walked into the wrong night of the week. And why is Solo flown all the way here to Sacramento? This family is a big mess. And he mentions that Tama Tonga is not here. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a mess. And says the Usos are making them look bad, hanging out with this clown, LA Knight. And so LA Knight issues a challenge to them. And I'm just glad this all figured itself out. Imagine coming all the way here and they got just for this like brief interaction backstage.
Maybe they still live in the Bay Area and they all just like, it was just a short drive for them.
Okay, well,
maybe
we're going to get a 6-man later. Another trailer airs for the Hulk Hogan Netflix doc, this focusing on the turn at Bash at the Beach 96. We got comments from Bischoff, Cody, Kevin Nash, David Shoemaker was in this, and Hogan himself as well. So that is coming out when? Next week? Next week.
22nd, right?
The 22nd.
Yeah.
Stephanie Vaquer comes out, and they replayed the attack from last week. I'm going to have like nightmares about that cracking of heads. That sound is just, you can't unhear it. And the match is, it's on. And this time, Kathy Kelly is interviewing Vaquer in the ring. But this time, Liv jumps Vaquer from behind. They had the faith to redo the spot in a more protected way. If I was Kathy Kelly, I'd be like, hell no. We are not trying this at all. They did it, and it seemed like there were no hematomas that came out of this one. But this was, we got Murder Ibushi. Well, this was Livid Morgan because she was insane here. She was so aggressive. She's screaming like a maniac. She tells Vaquer, I knew your mom was trash, but I didn't know she raised a little bitch. And Vaquer is like, you call me a bitch? And she runs back as well. And this was a great brawl. I think this has been the most underrated build of the whole both nights of Mania. They've had the longest runway here, and I mean, unfortunate near concussions aside last week, this has been a pretty good promotion they've had for this.
I feel safe in saying it's at the very least the second best title program that's taking place right now. Like, it's certainly better and more, I don't know, cohesive and more sensible than Randy versus Cody at this point. And again, I feel like they've completely overachieved what I would have expected a Liv Morgan, Stephanie Vaquer WrestleMania build to be. It's taken to me, Stephanie Vaquer to a higher level. I think it's taken Liv Morgan to a higher level. I would not have expected this level of sort of like range in just I don't know, like she was deranged here, like she looked amazing as she was being pulled back from the ring. And the Kathy Kelly like bump I felt was interesting. Like, it didn't seem like there'd be any follow-up on it.
Dude, what kind of bump would you have taken if you had seen last week?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's like we're going to try this again, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
But like Cole updated us and said that she'll be okay. So I don't know if there's meant to be any follow-up with that, but I thought it was.
You could still see her forehead. Like, it's banged up here. Like, her hair's kind of covering it.
I was talking about Kathy Kelly and Story, but
sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely, Liv. You could still see the welt, but she took full advantage of, I think, that image to further just the intensity of this feud.
Then we had Jackie backstage with Io Sky. She lost to Jade on Friday, but she says, I'm going to be rooting as loud as anyone for Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. The Kabuki Warriors walk in and state how Rhea is not your family. Last year, you were women's champion going into WrestleMania. This year, you're just Rhea's sidekick. And Sky tells Sane, you don't have to listen to Asuka. And Asuka says, tonight, Sane is going to face you. And Sane was surprised by this, but accepted the role of her leader. And we will get to
senpai.
Her senpai, yes. Mm-hmm. And look at Io, just so sad. It's like they had just told her, what do you think about Backlash? The Usos and LA Knight against Solo Sikoa, JC Mateo, and Tonga Loa. And we get the big announcement the night before WrestleMania. 8-man street fight. MFT's Wyatt 6.
All right.
Excited.
Nice. Yes.
Jay hits a big dive early on. This guy was excited. Tala Tonga gets involved multiple times. Solo's in, does a yeet and a hip attack onto Jay. Then Knight gets the tag, and he does his elbow, hits Sikoa hits a Samoan spike to Jimmy. And then Tama Tonga appears ringside, and Solo is stunned by this. He asks, where were you? And Tala stands up to Tama Tonga. In this whole thing, Tonga Loa is distracted by the mess his family is in and walks into a BFT as Knight pins Tonga Loa in 6 minutes and 50 seconds. These MFTs, I mean, just are...
Oh, they can't look any less intimidating, honestly. Like, this group feels like such a dud. Including Tala Tonga, who I feel like they've kind of protected, but he's been he's been involved in like these sort of nothing feuds. You look at the progress of an Oba Femi, and you look at Tala Tonga, who's just, like a tall guy, but
do you realize it's almost been 2 years? It's been almost 2 years since Tala Tonga left New Japan. And like, if you were to look, like, there was pretty much the whole first year, he just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he's just like, man, these last 2 years.
He still hasn't done anything.
Like, he could have been working this last 2 years and signed now, and he would have been much better off for it. But I mean, he's in WWE. I'm sure he's making a nice amount, but it's astounding when you like, he was on the ascent in New Japan. He was really improving, and I can't even grade him at this point because it's such an incomplete of like, he's basically just does live events and the odd TV match at this point.
Yeah. Well, you could say the exact same thing about like Jeff Cobb, can't you? He's just there to
not familiar.
Or JC. I mean,
yes. Yeah. There's a recap of the Cody, Orton, and McAfee segment on SmackDown. I don't know if it's indicative of other people. When this came on the screen, it was just such a like rolling my eyes and like glad that there was no segment involving these three on this show. Like, I feel I'm kind of checked out of this one over all of this. Like, I'm not looking forward to seeing whatever they have planned on Friday. I almost just wish they could just rewind this 2 weeks. That's where I'm at on this one.
They've done a lot of damage to this like entire feud over the past couple weeks. And I'm curious to see on Friday how they direct attention back to Randy and Cody.
I hope they have something great, because I thought Friday they really made Randy feel like the lackey to Pat McAfee, and that is the last place you want a Randy Orton to be positioned. Where this feels like the bigger rivalry is Cody and Pat and Punk. At least tonight, you certainly felt like Reigns and Punk is a super big match for Mania, and I don't think the McAfee stuff overshadowed their program tonight, but it absolutely has overshadowed this SmackDown program.
Yeah.
Gunther comes out, and he's about to speak when Rollins jumps him. He says that's a receipt, and he's going to finish the job at Mania, challenges Gunther to be a man. Tell me why you're fighting me. I need a storyline, god damn it. And Gunther comes back. He says he's solving Heyman's problem because Rollins is pissing him off. You pretend to be the best in the ring when I am. So instead of trying to find out who was the better wrestler, you became a useful idiot for Paul Heyman. So this man is, I don't know what he's wrestling for here. He's helping Paul Heyman by taking out a guy who wasted his time being with Paul Heyman.
Oh, he wants to face Seth because he thinks he is a better wrestler than Seth, even though Seth claims to be at one point like the best wrestler, at least on Raw.
Okay.
That's about as simple as maybe they could explain it.
Well, they had one final brawl here. Rollins tried to stomp him on the steps, but Gunther escaped. And I mean, I'm looking forward to the match. They've really had to dig deep to find any kind of a reasoning for this match other than the announcement. You either like this matchup or you didn't, but I think it will be a really great match on
all the Uber shell games and just favors and all that shit, and then all this kind of boils down to is who is the better wrestler. Like, this kind of could have been.
Do we get the ninjas one more night for the entrance at Mania?
Oh God, yes. I could only hope so. Yeah. So I again, like, when did they actually have this match ready? As far as you know, like when did they decide on this?
I first heard about it like right after Elimination Chamber.
Okay. So,
Right
I mean, they
around
kind of
that
knew
time.
about this for a long
This has
time.
been like a week after the Bronson Reed injury.
Yeah. But yet, like, they didn't really do a whole lot to deepen this. At the same time, this is a very simple build, right? It just becomes who's the better wrestler. If Gunther beats Rollins, he gets some sort of favor from Paul Heyman afterwards that, you know, dangles a further interaction between the two. But often some of the best WrestleMania matches are really just remembered for the night of and not so much anything that preceded it. So it looks great on paper. I think it very well could be a show stealer. And really at this point, a week out, that's almost all that matters for a match like this.
So for weeks, we've been getting these Club WWE logos, and we got the big reveal tonight with a John Cena voiceover announcing the Ultimate Insider membership program, where you can sign up for Club WWE for ticketing and live event information, a members-only shop, points and rewards hub, exclusive premium content, and wait for it, folks, it's 2026, a community forum.
Oh, yes, be a part of the community.
I was so excited to go to geocities.com/coliseum/5124/Club WWE.
So this is not for you and I, this sort of thing, but it's for a lot of people. Okay. And I simply think about, like, maybe, I don't know, like fandoms I'm into that do similar types of things, where they offer exclusive perks, if you want to call it that, for audiences. And I'm kind of surprised it's kind of taken this long to do something like this, where they could just siphon a subscription fee from its audience that are already paying a lot of money, I'm sure, for various things. But there are people that love and only love WWE.
Hey, man, deals on tickets and stuff, like, that'll be attractive to people if you're going to get incentives and, you know, like that kind of thing.
Meet and greet access, and I don't know, maybe like a badge or something like that, you know, like this type of stuff. I feel like especially will probably appeal to younger audiences as well, you know. You signing up?
I'm doing it as we speak, I think, right now, because
humans are social animals. That's just a fact.
Yeah. What if you get like a cool WWE club pen? Did you sign up for that?
A pen?
Yeah.
I don't need a pen.
No, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go to our next segment here. Well, the tease for the Demon Finn Balor was literally just like the heart beating and his eyes. That was it.
It's not so much a tease. Like, he's on the ground.
Yeah, I guess there's no tease.
Yeah.
He's back. He's alive. Dominic is upset with Pierce for making this match. He said, I signed to face Finn Balor, not the Demon. And he's also upset Ray's in the ladder match. Pierce told him to kick rocks. Io Sky against Kairi Sane. They head to the floor. Sky moonsaults off the barricade, setting up the break, hits the bullet train attack, and then behind Jessica Carr's back, Asuka smashes Sky's head into the post. You would think this is the finish. No. Rhea Ripley comes out, big pop, and she attacks Asuka. She's going for the Riptide. Jade runs out, stopping Rhea. Sky, who has been concussed, has now regained her equilibrium, goes for a dive onto Jade, and then Sky ducks the cutlass, lands a kick. Asuka comes again, and behind Carr's back, stops the over the moonsault, leading to Kairi, rolling her up in 9:56. So in terms of matches that require a commercial break, 2 spots behind the referee, 2 run-ins, and then a heel finish, nailed it.
I mean, this was a storyline match, and not necessarily one that I feel like scratch the itch of like what I continue to want, a Kairi versus Io match to be.
This sold me though on Jade and Rhea. This was the moment I turned the corner.
I didn't think it was such a bad way of folding Jade and Rhea into the storyline, or maybe vice versa. Folding Asuka now into a Rhea Ripley Jade Cargill storyline. If you remember, the Michin and BFAB are out. We don't know for how long, but they are taken out. Could Jade be replacing them with Asuka and Io, at least? Sorry, Asuka and Kairi, at least for one night. If they're not going to do Io and Kairi as a proper match, that's kind of the role I see them in for the pay-per-view.
You could see all of these people getting utilized. I could certainly imagine Io somehow involved in this match in some way or form. Could be in the corner, get some kind of presence on the show. There was a video for AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. That was it. Neither of them were on the show itself. Levesque is in the ring for the second contract signing with Adam Pearce, and out comes Oba Femi. Huge superstar reaction. And then out walks Paul Heyman. And Heyman explains he has never seen someone get over so fast as Oba Femi. You are a violent man, the most violent man to come to WWE since Brock Lesnar, the fastest rising star since Lesnar, the most impressive athlete since Lesnar, and this whole place is chanting Oba. But it comes to an end on Sunday, and there's no shame in this loss for you. He promises that when Oba needs to rebuild his career, his door will always be open for Oba Femi. And now was the moment of truth, because Oba had to take the microphone for this big go-home promo, and he says, I could come and beat you up right now, but the physical scars of beating you up will heal. But the emotional wounds by beating Lesnar will last forever on you. And says, you can take your door and shut that door. The only door I need open is the one to WrestleMania. For 25 years, you've said that Brock cannot be beat. Well, I have 4 weeks that says he can. And it's time to put an end to the beast. Heyman, you're a good mouthpiece, but you're not an honest one. Because if you were honest, you would say, my name is Paul Heyman, and my client is scared of the ruler, Oba Femi. He said, I'm going to slay the beast. I am the one, and you will know it on Sunday. Fucking awesome promo here from Oba Femi. This guy is, if they don't mess any of this up, this guy is just going to be a mega star. I was so impressed with this segment. It was the best thing on Raw for me.
You know, I've heard him speak in NXT, of course, but I don't know if it's just like the performance center setting. But hearing him on this stage after, I think, like everything after the debut, and now that he's like being promoted in one of the more anticipated matches at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar, it just kind of puts him into like a whole different field. And he went up to plate and he nailed it. Like he delivered about as good of a promo as you could expect somebody in this position to give against Paul Heyman, no less. And I have to think he's been working with Paul Heyman, you know, to some extent, maybe for this interaction, but he sounded incredible and really right up there. You know, a guy who looks like this and is able to, I think, you know, command the type of like, performances and matches that he's able to, doesn't need to be able to talk, but he can. And, you know, Heyman offering his services to him might lead you to think that there's some possibility of him having Paul Heyman as a manager. But you hear him talk, and he's not somebody who needs it. He's already like a 50 times better promo than Brock Lesnar. And it maybe goes to show like why they might have so much confidence in him. But, you know, they're right to, because this audience is completely connecting with him even before he's talked. Now that he's proven that he can really talk at this level, like he's only getting more fans, I bet.
I think this is the type of like segment that if you were not all sold on this guy, I think this is going to be remembered as like a really big like elevation of Oba Femi. It was like, you know, he's gotten over tremendously well, but this was just another tool that he really flexed in a big time promo type of segment here, building up this match. So I thought this was just an outstanding segment. Levesque even like walks over to him, and you can imagine what he was just like telling this guy. He looked like he was just like, I've just seen the next 15 years for us right here. So
yeah, there's only one finish, right, to this match.
Oh yeah. He loses with the pulling up the trunks by Lesnar, and Lesnar escapes with the win. He's got.
I think the music hits and distracted finish, all this. Yeah.
I think it would be absolute insanity if they beat this guy on Sunday.
Yeah, agree.
Completely. So we followed that with the debut of Liv Morgan's new music video, Trouble. Yes. Not a remix of EC3's TNA theme. But yes, this was
released earlier online in the day.
Yes, it came out today. And yes.
Is
this going to be your new theme? Is she going to come out to this at Mania?
I guess so. I think so. Maybe we'll even get a live performance. I mean, it kind of starts off with her current theme and then launches into like this thing. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, I couldn't make it past the second verse. I don't know if it's just because like I've seen her sort of like grow up now at this point, and I had no idea she had this sort of background or ambition. So therefore, it just kind of feels kind of like, I don't know, like some attempt at putting her into a role that I don't know if she should be in. I don't know if the song is all that great, but I'm certainly no judge of like modern musical taste at all. Her singing ability, I mean, listen, you don't even have to be a good singer in order to be a pop star. So I don't know. Do you see any sort of mainstream traction or at least non-wrestling attention for this?
I'm not the finest reviewer of music, but I would not be holding my breath on that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, either way, it would work for her as a heel.
Well, it could. We'll see if there's a follow up to Trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe all the dancers will come out with her.
Maybe.
At Mania. Javon Evans and Dragon Lee against Rusev and JD McDonough is our final match on the show. Pretty much for Rusev to throw everyone around. Evans executing multiple dives. JD did an Asai moonsault onto Dragon Lee, and then Dragon Lee kind of took over here, hit the leaping Rana to JD off the apron, Snapdragon, and then JD lands a standing Spanish fly. The red dot is hit onto Rusev, and it dives over the top. Lee is left with JD, and we had a miracle, folks. He lifts him up for the Styles Clash, and a guy using AJ's finisher won with the Styles Clash. The ultimate near fall in pro wrestling actually won a match here for Dragon Lee. 8 minutes and 12 seconds. And then Rusev just cleaned house on everyone. Ray runs out. He gets clotheslined on a 619 attempt. And basically, Rusev lays out everyone with Machka kicks. And Rusev stands tall as the big monster in the ladder match.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that they gave him something because this is, I mean, really the coldest.
He's basically been like not even present for this Mania buildup.
Yeah, not at all. But I mean, this kind of laid the foundation of what you needed to know, and that was specifically that Rusev is a really big guy. He's a bad guy, and he's going to maybe dominate all of these smaller men around him, and that was it, really. It's a ladder match with like high flyers. That's all you really need to know.
Yes. Will this outperform the grab the brass ring ladder match?
I don't. It depends on your metric. I mean, I don't know what we'll see in that grab the brass ring ladder match. No.
Adam Pearce is on the phone, and he's talking about John Cena hosting WrestleMania when Danhausen appears, and he wants to talk to John Cena on the phone, but Cena's not there, and Danhausen is explaining he wants to see him. And then disappears. So I think this all but confirms we will get some Danhausen, John Cena segment at one of the nights of WrestleMania. I certainly would expect Danhausen to. I could see Danhausen getting a few appearances at WrestleMania. I think they will utilize this guy for some segments, depending on what time they're up against.
Dennis Rodman and Danhausen.
Oh my God!
Come on,
he should induct Rodman. That would be the best. Who inducts Rodman?
Okay. Paige.
Who are your options? Like Paige, Bischoff, Nash?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd go with Paige,
sure.
maybe, I guess. Sure.
Probably not Karl Malone.
No, probably not Karl Malone. Probably. That's. I don't think the mailman's going to be making an appearance. And then Roman Reigns comes out for the final segment. We got long walkout entrances from Roman. Then CM Punk walks through the crowd, and I swear to God, he might have taken 10,000 steps on his way through the Golden One Center here. He walked so slow. And Punk refers to the cold open as a political smear campaign. But Punk is here to tell the truth. Do you imagine Punk being at the part of a smear campaign? It's quite an accusation.
Yeah.
Punk is here to tell the truth. He says, I thought about it for the last few weeks, and I hate you. I hate you because I envy you. Which is actually how Wai Ting describes his friendship with me sometimes. He says that this is all that I ever wanted to do, and I envy that it was handed to you. And I hate that you had the belt for 1,316 days. And I hate it because I know how hard you worked to be that great. I hate the number of times you've headlined WrestleMania and the way I feel about envying that stat. He says, Sika was a great man, a great wrestler, a Hall of Famer. I love and respect the old timers, and I hate the fact that I invoked your father's name in vain. I'm sorry for that storyline that we did for that 1 week and then moved on from it. I hate that there is more than one royal family in professional wrestling. I hate that I wasn't born into a dynasty. And I don't know what it's like to have that type of family because I was a misfit. I had to find my own family. I found my family on the indies. And then I went to Japan, to England, to Puerto Rico. I wasn't handed anything. I busted my ass. I made pro wrestling my home and my family. And I hate that I feel this way and that I'm sharing my first singles WrestleMania main event with you. I've got gold around my waist, and Sunday I'll have gold over my head after Sunday. What'd you think about the Punk portion before the Reigns response?
So it came in a direction that I totally didn't expect, and that was CM Punk, who I think is known for just trash talking, admitting vulnerability and admitting wrong and apologizing even. So I love that direction. To me, like this sort of conversation without the need to be physical, without the need to even shout, I kind of felt was the perfect antidote to everything we've had over the past weeks with the Pat McAfee stuff and even Punk's, rebuttal.
And then Roman Reigns, I was waiting for him to take out his iPod from 12 years ago. Remember this podcast you did? That would have been the go home segment. Reigns says
That's
are probably
the next political
next smear campaign.
Yeah.
Those are probably the truest words you've ever said until the end. He says, I hate you too, and I have for a long time, mainly for the relationship you have with the fans, because I hope when I leave that they miss me as much as they missed you, chanting your name for 10 years. No one can deny the connection you have with the fans, but your time is up. This nostalgia act, this experiment is done. On Sunday, we fix this mess that you started and make this place where we had it. At the very top, worth every single dollar, where we get this plunging business back on track that's just gone to hell this year.
I mean, that is the insinuation, right?
It is, and it's crazy, folks, because when the numbers come out for this year's WrestleMania, it's going to make these promos sound insane to any rational human being, except for the fact that our projection is just so high that we are not meeting from last year. But this is going to be such a successful weekend for this company. And you would never know it based on what they're saying here. Like, you would think this is a struggling promotion.
This is both WrestleMania main events now, acknowledging that there is something wrong with the modern state of WWE. And of course, like if you're a fan, if you're an online fan especially, you would recognize that, whether it be the ticket prices or like the creative. But to have the wrestlers themselves like talk about it, even in Roman Reigns here, like in a kayfabe sort of way, and certainly in Pat McAfee stating it in a not so kayfabe sort of way, it's crazy to me. Like,
don't buy tickets for night 2. It's ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the segment though. I thought it was like a different tempo from these two. It really felt like this is a big match for Sunday. And when they turned Randy, like I thought there was even like discussion, like people were like suggesting, it's like, is this hot enough? Like this could even go on night 2. And man, the McAfee thing, it just took that one down many pegs for me. And this has really solidified itself as the main event of the weekend. And a couple of weeks ago, I would have said it like it was, I would say both title matches, I think, had their merits to them. I think McAfee has really harmed the other title match with one more episode to go.
Yeah. I thought this was a money segment. And again, I love the fact that, I mean, we didn't really get any sort of work shoot bullshit here. No pull aparts, no shouting, just great, like personal story driven talking between like the two top guys in the company. So I felt again like it was a wonderful sort of counter to the overabundance of like I don't know, just bitch calling, like insulting each other for like going to Saudi Arabia, or like the one of like dozens of pull aparts on every single week in this build. I love the fact that this felt different from all of that.
You're old. Yeah, well, your dad passed away. So no, I thought it was a great segment. Overall, like the Raw before Mania, like this is not a show about matches. Like this is a show about selling you on the show. And I've got to say, this final segment that they did here and that Oba Femi one, like to me, those were like A+ segments. I thought they were really strong stuff for your mileage might vary throughout the rest of the card and other programs, but those are the two big ones that they pushed on this show, and I thought they did a very effective job for those two matches in particular.
Strong pull apart for Liv Morgan. And
yeah,
Stephanie
you're right.
as well.
I should include that one too. That was a very good segment that they had as well. I think the ladder match.
Gunther Rollins, what do you think?
I mean, it hasn't struck me in a big way, the build-up, but I'm really looking forward to that match itself. The ladder match kind of sells itself. You at least got some face time for the rest of them. Four-way women's match, I think we went over that. I just think it's been a very just uninspired build-up of we'll just trade all these wins and you'll be interested in the match. And there's really, like, the only story is the Bayley one you mentioned.
The big question to me is how they possibly, take things back on track with the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton program. And that'll be explored on Friday.
Okay. There you go, everyone. That was Raw. And we're going to say goodbye to everyone on the YouTube portion. But again, we're live every day this week. PostWrestlingCafe.com is where we're going to be live exclusively for the rest of the week. So consider jumping on board. You're going to more than get your money's worth this week. And some cool ideas on the other side of WrestleMania. We'll be doing our Patrons Pick review next week. And coming up, we are going to be dedicating reviews to each episode of the Hulk Hogan Real American series on Netflix. So that's coming up later on this month as well. A lot of great stuff up on the cafe. So again, Wednesday with Braden and Davey, we're going to be doing our best and worst of WrestleMania. Big WrestleMania preview on Thursday's show, and then we'll be getting into show reviews on Friday and Saturday, and then back Saturday and Sunday night. So a lot coming up this week. We thank everyone for tuning in, and stick around for feedback and questions.